What's up, you guys? Bloody Jacob here to bring you another video, and this time I'm going to be giving some of my thoughts on the first season of Longmire.
Jacob here, meeting my icon, Catherine Isabel.
Bloody Jacob for sexy, awesome, exclusive content.
Subscribe and watch my friend on the YouTube channel. He is kicking ass.
Fuck with me and my friends! Come after my family! Fuck! Oh, I'm just getting started! Get in!
Subscribe.
Apologies for the kind of compressed thumbnail there, adjusting the image and such. But anyway, yeah, we're talking about the first season of Longmire, which aired on A&E for about 3 seasons, I believe, before it was unfortunately canceled and then saved by Netflix and aired, or was shown for another 3 seasons, I believe. I think I had 6 seasons. But yeah, Longmire is a show I've been meaning to talk about for quite some time. It's based on the mystery novels of best-selling author Craig Johnson. It's a crime drama. It stars Australian actor Robert Taylor in the title role as the charismatic and dedicated sheriff. Longmire patrols the county with a brave face and sense of humor, but deep inside he hides the pain of his wife's recent death. With urging his daughter Katie and the help of Vic, a new female deputy, Longmire gains a new appreciation of his job and decides to run for re-election. He's committed to putting his life back together one piece at a time, and he often calls on best friend, confidant Henry Standing Bear for support. So yeah, I started season 1 of the show quite a while ago, and you guys know how many shows I watch at once. So it kind of got a little bit lost in the shuffle, but now being done with The Americans especially, I also recently finished Killjoys. Not sure if I'm going to talk about that or not. Which I really liked as well. It's just, I'm kind of a bit spotty with some of my videos, so I gotta figure out what I really want to talk about. But yeah, I went back to Longmire. I started at about episode 4 or 5 of the first season where I left off, and I was already kind of liking it, but I swear, once I started watching again, it really started clicking with me, and I gotta say, I really am enjoying this show now. I'm a couple episodes into season 2, and I think I found another special show here. I mean, it definitely reminds me a little bit of that Justified sort of thing. I mean, this show started airing in 2012. Justified started airing in 2010. And there's a lot of comparisons to it, just because they're basically both like modern day westerns. So of course it's going to come up, and they're both based on crime mystery novels and such. Justified definitely had a great unique lead performance with Timothy Oliphant as Raylan Givens. Very different type of personality compared to Walt Longmire in this show. Plus Justified had the benefit of Walton Goggins as Boyd Crowder. And we don't really have a particular villain like that, especially one that we see develop throughout the entire series so far in Longmire that I've seen. But I gotta tell you, part of me is starting to like Longmire more. And I know that's a big thing to say after just a season and 2 episodes I watched so far. But I'm seeing a lot of promise with this show, and I was already really liking it at the end, by the last quarter of the first season. My brother has already watched through it, and he's promising just how much greater the story gets, and the tie-ins, and the main plot, and everything, as well as the character depths and such that really develop and take to the surface. Yeah, the whole cast is pretty good on this show. We're going to talk more about Robert Taylor, especially in a minute here. We also have Katie Sackhoff as the new deputy. Of course, she is well known for her role in Battlestar Galactica and such. She's really a really nice presence on this. Her character deals with sort of a failing marriage for varying reasons as well. Her husband's kind of shitty for various reasons, but she's a really strong-willed person. She's very physically capable as well, which you hope she would be with the shape Katie Sackhoff is in. And then you also have, you also have Bailey Chase, who I'm rewatching Buffy right now with my fiance. He had a recurring role in that show as well during season 4 as Branch Connolly. He's running up against Walt for to be a new sheriff, because obviously Walt's been on a bit of a year bender because of his wife's death and such, and he's finally recommitted to his duty and such. And they kind of have a conflicting relationship. Branch has a sort of interesting dynamic with his father, who keeps on him to dig up dirt on Walt or use certain things against him. Branch, at least in the first season, was willing to do some of that because he likes the man. There's also a point where Walt was seen drinking at a bar, but he wasn't on duty, and that same episode ends up solving the whole thing on his own. So he still does have respect for him, and he says that he feels like there's still things he could learn from him. But then what ends up happening, because of Branch's relationship with his daughter, they're kind of at a bit more of odds right now. But that relationship really has some potential. And mentioning his daughter, Katie, played by Cassidy Freeman, who I remember seeing on The Vampire Diaries, but I think she's a pretty capable actress as well, and it seems like she's going to get more involved hands-on in the storylines in the second season and onward. And of course, Lou Diamond Phillips as Henry, kind of a good, steady dynamic to have on the show as well. But yeah, I gotta talk about Robert Taylor specifically. Even just off the first season, he is so good on this show. He's one of those really good actors with his eyes as well. His expressions and his mannerisms, I feel very, very realistic and not forced. The way he delivers his dialogue. I mean, he's Australian, but you wouldn't know it if you didn't know it. Just watching the show. The voice he uses gets in your head. He feels very believable in the role. He looks older like Walt's supposed to. But then you really buy into him when he does take things into his own hands, and you buy into him still being pretty physically capable when he has to be, and he really delivers on being as smart as Longmire is supposed to come across as. So I think he really works in the role. I feel very invested in that character, and I also did want to mention. I also really believe his integrity and honor and such. And then when you peel back the layers a little bit, I do really feel for him as well. It seems like it's just going to get more kind of interesting and complex. So I'm definitely eager for that. But yeah, something I did have to mention. Come on, I'm not the only one that could see him casted as Arthur Morgan in a Red Dead Redemption adaptation, right? I absolutely love Dead Redemption 2. It's one of the greatest stories and character-driven journeys I've seen in any medium. I'm surprised that hasn't been made into a live-action series or movie yet. I think it'd be great as like a Netflix series, honestly. But I would cast Robert Taylor as Arthur Morgan. I mean, they look fairly similar. I mean, sure, maybe Robert Taylor's a little bit too old at this point, but I think he could still do it. That similar look, and if he just used his Longmire voice, I think that'd be about perfect. So I decided to say that as well. And I don't want to keep making this a comparison to Justified, but just based off the first season, I do, there isn't a whole lot of main story in the first season of Longmire. I do like how they, kind of spread out and kind of sprinkled it out a little bit. But there's not a whole lot of main story. But I will say I do often find myself liking the case of the week, crimes and just different cases, episode than I did with the first season of Justified that I remember anyway. I find it a little bit more entertaining, a little bit more kind of emotionally driven with these episodic, people that are involved in it. and honestly just a bit more interesting to watch, not as straightforward. They try to give each case a little extra something, I think, and I think it kind of works and it makes it enjoyable. It just feels like it has more life to it. So we'll see how that holds up as the show goes along, but I'm very confident in it. And the main story they're really introducing with Walt, maybe killing the person we find out actually murdered his wife. It wasn't the cancer. I think that could be very good as well. And I'm sure there's some outside things I don't know about that and affecting it as well. So we'll see how that goes. But yeah, just off the first season alone, I do really like it. I'm going to keep it at about an 85% though, just to, temper my excitement over it a little bit anyway. So I'm giving it a solid B, but it's definitely going to go up a little bit. I think if I watched the first season again, I'd probably enjoy it even more. It's like 85, 87%. I think it's a really, really enjoyable show. It's easy to watch, but yet really interesting as well, and I really feel like it holds a lot of promise to become even greater television. And I can't wait to watch more of it, man. So yeah, follow me on Facebook, Twitter, Instagram, like, subscribe, and I'll catch you guys next time, and peace.